Hello, I'm Alexandra J. Johnson with the Entheos Academy for Optimal Living. Today I am chatting with Stu Zimmerman about his course, Inner Security and Infinite Wealth. Stu is Chief Inspirational Officer of Enjoy Media and the host of Inner Espresso video series. He is also the co-author of Inner Security and Infinite Wealth. He provides private wealth coaching and training. If you enjoy this interview, you can sign up for the course below. Hello, Stu. It's so wonderful to be chatting with you today.
Hi, Alexandra. Great to see you. And hello, everybody watching.
Okay, so there's so much that we can talk about, so we are just going to jump in, and I'm going to start off with the inner security. So can you talk about inner security and what that means and how we can access that? Because it sounds pretty delicious.
Well, it is delicious in its own kind of unique way. So what we're talking about with inner security, and not to answer, I know you haven't asked yet about infinite wealth. We'll get to that too. They are both energetic vibrations that we can feel in our bodies, and we can actually learn to access them no matter what is going on in that outer world of ours that we typically look to for our sense of security and our sense of wealth. So it's really designed to be an inside job, and we'll have exercises so you can feel the truth of it. Your muscles, your neural synapses can feel what it feels like. And you've already had these feelings before from time to time, but just kind of re-engage them in ways that you can access them on command.
Very cool. So all this idea around creating security on the outside world, this is really, like you said, it's an inner kind of mental, emotional, spiritual experience?
It is absolutely a multi-dimensional, full-bodied, and by full-bodied I mean not just the physical body, but certainly the emotional body, the mental body, the spiritual body. How many other bodies you got? It's truly designed to be a visceral, deep visceral experience. And when we're talking about security, what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about a sense of peace and something you can rest in. And it's something that is really kind of singular, that you can experience security within yourself without needing any other players in your life in that moment to do anything for you or to interact with you in any particular way.
Very beautiful. Well, I'm looking forward to learning more about that because there's such an empowerment, that the outside circumstances don't need to change for us to have this inner peace. So fantastic. And then what about infinite wealth? There's another pretty awesome statement.
Yes. Well, if we can compare and contrast for a moment. With security, what we're talking about, as we mentioned, it's a place of rest. It's a place of inner peace, peace of mind. And it's something that does feel absolutely delicious. I'm Stu, the stew in one's own juices. With wealth, what we're talking about is an energetic feeling that your fountain is overflowing, that you are and have more than enough in the moment. And it's something that is much more kinetic and interactive with others because one of the key elements of wealth is that it's an energy that naturally wants to share and naturally feels in its sense of abundance that there is more than enough, and it's much more interactive than, let's say, security, which can be really for oneself.
Very cool. So this is more like it's like a sharing and like an overflowing of...
Yeah, you know what wealth is. It's joie de vivre. It's an excitement. Yeah, it is feeling like, in one word, it is yes.
Nice. Who doesn't want a yes, right? Who doesn't want to think of wealth and think, yes?
So if we can, we've been socialized to look at wealth in financial terms. So I'd like you and everybody watching to consider that wealth is a rainbow and money is a color. so that, yes, money and financial is absolutely an aspect of wealth.
Right.
It's just not the only one. And the reason why so many people aspire for more and more financial wealth is because they think it's going to give them more of the colors of the rainbow of wealth, like a sense of freedom or a greater appreciation for beauty or a deeper sense of freedom of choice, so that they can have a wide variety of experiences that this world, physical world, could possibly offer us.
Right.
And we know that we can have a lot of those experiences and aspects of wealth without our net worth changing a dime.
Very cool. So I just had this idea. Let me know if this is how the rainbow works. So scarcity versus wealth, which I know you're going to be talking about these, the scarcity versus the wealth. Scarcity would be when we're focusing only on this color of the rainbow, which is just money, and then wealth is focusing on all the colors of the rainbow?
Well, one could possibly say, scarcity is its own vibration.
Right.
So scarcity is not necessarily related to money, although we've been so socialized to believe that it is.
Right.
And the real physical realities of today is that more and more people are being kind of thrown off the financial ship here, and more people are becoming disenfranchised to the point of kind of daily protests.
Right.
So I don't mean to minimize at all the fact that many of people watching today, for example, or who will be taking the course, are financially challenged.
Yeah.
And it does create a deep sense of insecurity in which we cannot rest, and a deep sense of scarcity when the overriding energy is a feeling of not enough. Mm-hmm. And when we are in that energetic vibration of scarcity, what we typically feel is a form of contraction, a form of a loss of energy, a denser vibration, and things appear and feel more difficult. And it even becomes more difficult even to interact, let alone appreciate what life has to offer. Mm-hmm. So we're going to work with the full spectrum of energetic states. So we become accustomed to them. So we know that when our body is feeling contracted, we may be operating in more of a scarcity mode than in a wealth mode. Mm-hmm. There's no judgment about it. But the point is that the course is designed to give you tools to be able to maneuver within the different vibrations without going into a story about it, a self-judgment, or all the things that we typically do, and rather just have a greater sense of freedom, which is why most people pursue wealth in any form anyway,
right.
Because that is our inherent nature, is to be free.
Mm-hmm. I love it. So this course, I'm just because as you were saying, there's a lot of people who are in financial strain right now. So somebody who is watching this and thinking, this all sounds great, but I can barely pay my bills. This course will help them kind of, maybe speak to those people for a moment.
I'd be happy to. First of all, I just want you to know, I feel your pain. And I know what it's like to be in a place of real scarcity when I barely had a few dollars in my wallet. Mm. I know what it's like to be in a state of perceived perpetual scarcity, literally having millions of dollars of net worth and never feeling like it was enough. And I understand that it really is for our creature comforts and our enjoyment of life to have food on the table, to have a roof over our head, to have our basic, survival needs met. And what I can say to you is, living in a place, something just fell. How about that? And the light just shifted. You see our light back here? I do.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Spirit has a things out. What I've noticed is is that when we operate from a place of scarcity and telling ourselves all kinds of stories that we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not worthy, we're not something enough. All of those stories, no matter how often they're told to ourselves, may not be true. Yet when we believe that they're true, it doesn't help us make more money. And so what I'd like to offer you is, and the second part of the subtitle of the book and this course is merging self-worth and net worth. So that if we're going to work a little bit more with the self-worth and how we feel about ourselves and how we can expand our sense of appreciation and beauty and innocence and all these things that we don't ordinarily associate with wealth, but fill ourselves up and have the exercises and tools in our kit here to be able to access these vibrations no matter what is going on. And you will find that when you access those and are actively working with those tools while you are creating your financial wealth, you'll notice it comes more easily for you.
Awesome. Beautiful. I love it too. I love your work because you have the background in the practical, right? And then you have this idea that, whether you can't pay your bills or you're making millions of dollars, so many of us have a scarcity mindset. So I love that you're just doing that transformation on all levels around money. It's such a healing gift for so many.
Well, I'm very much here to be of service. And I know what it's like. And really only the people who have literally made tons of dough at one time or another, they're the only ones who really know for sure what money can't buy. Everybody else can hold out that it's going to be some form of panacea. That only if I make my, X amount of money, then I'll be happy, or then I can love myself or feel good about myself. All I can say is we all know, in our hearts at least, that we are so much more than this physical world that we're bringing to it. And the purpose of optimal living, if I get it, my understanding of it, is to optimize all of the possibilities, not just this one, not just the financial.
Amen. So I have a few things before we wrap up, but what stops us from really allowing ourselves to feel wealthy and experience abundance in all forms? And what's something that somebody watching today can start implementing into their life right now? Well,
ultimately, this is very much of an energetic and spiritual journey, because at the core, I invite you to consider that we are spirit in matter. And what we are going to do is, and find out and really contemplate, there's one word that is part of this course that I'd love for you to contemplate on now. And the word is infinite. Where we may not know all of what the infinite could possibly comprise on one level. What we do know is it has no limits. And so I'd invite you to consider if there is anything out there that's infinite, whether you call it God or source or spirit or the universe or energy. Maybe you're agnostic and don't believe in God, no worries. But if you can tap into anything that is part of a unified field that is, at least extends far beyond the mind can really fathom, I just love you to consider the possibility that you are an aspect of that. Because whatever it is that's infinite, whatever label you call it or whatever name it is, if it is infinite, it must necessarily include you and me and all of it. Because if it doesn't, then it's not infinite. So it's very simple. And we're going to work with this notion of infinite frequently, because truly the source of all things, whether you call it energy, God, or whatever, or a ham sandwich, doesn't even make a difference what you call it. when we tap into this essential energy of creativity and the source of all things, and certainly the source of our own existence, we have a sense of security and a sense of wealth that is truly every single dimension. And that is what we'll be working with.
Beautiful. Sign me up.
You are signed up.
Yes. So last question, who's this course for?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask yourselves a question. Whoever you are watching this, you decide for yourself if it's for you. Mm-hmm. I could be glib and say, hey, if you could put mist on a mirror, then this course is for you. And yet, you're watching this for a reason. You know that there is something more that you can be experiencing in your life. And you may be actually experiencing some form of discomfort in in any aspect of life, whether it's a physical or emotional, financial, whatever it is. Maybe you are experiencing some discomfort in life, some form of insecurity. There's something here that's attracting you to go beyond where you are right now. And all I can say is, if there is a glimmer of hope that whatever the tuition fee that you're paying here can somehow shift your reality to a greater sense of self-love, a greater sense of connection with all that is, the source of all things, whatever you call that, that enables you to appreciate the moment and appreciate your existence that much more. You decide for yourself what that's worth to you and what the risk really is of exploring this.
Fantastic. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom.
Thank you, Alexandra. It's such a pleasure to be with you. You are fantastic, I must say.
Thank you. You too. And sending lots of love and thanks again.
Blessings, everyone.